Hey everybody, it's Miss Carrie with another edition of Miss Carrie Recommends. So on this beautiful Friday, Miss Carrie's recommending, it's a chapter book, so I would recommend it for grades 4 and up. It's called The Wind and the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, and it's about two friends, a rat and a badger, who are best buddies, and they have lots of adventures on the river and with their friend Badger and Mr. Toad. Now, all these characters are fascinating. The rat, he likes to be on the water, so he likes to be in his boat that he has. And his friend Mole, he's not quite as adventurous as Rat, but he still likes to come along. And Badger is an older badger, and he's really wise. And I really loved the description of his house. It sounded really cozy, with lots of books and bookshelves and food to eat. And my favorite part was Rat and Mole visited him when it was snowing outside. So that made it even more cozy. So I read this book during the winter time. So, Mr. Toad, oh my goodness, you won't find another character like Mr. Toad. Whatever he's interested in, like let's say if you're interested in Legos, you only think about Legos. That's like Mr. Toad. Like he got interested in boats, and he thought about boats all the time. And then he got interested in cars, even though he couldn't really drive that well. So anytime he saw a car, he thought that he had to drive it. So it gets him in trouble. So if you read this, you'll find out what happens to Mr. Toad. So to give you a little taste of this, the first chapter is called The Riverbank. So I'll read maybe the first couple of pages. So the mole had been working hard all the morning, spring cleaning his little home. So it's springtime where they are, like spring's about to happen here. First with brooms, then with dusters, then on ladders and steps and chairs with a brush and a pail of whitewash, till he had dust in his throat and eyes and splashes of whitewash all over his black fur. So he must be painting too. And he had an aching back and weary arms. Spring was moving in the air above and in the earth below, and all around him, penetrating even his dark and lowly little house with its spirit of divine discontent and longing. It was small wonder then that he suddenly flung his brush on the floor and said, "Bother! Oh, blow!" And also, hey, spring cleaning. He's just tired of doing cleaning. And he bolted out of the house without even waiting to put on his coat. Something up above was calling him imperiously, and he made for the steep little tunnel which answered in his case to the gravelled carriage drive owned by animals whose residences are nearer to the sun and air, because moles usually don't like the sunlight. So he scraped and scratched and scrabbled and scrooged, and then he scrooged again and scrabbed and scratched and scraped, working busily with his little paws and muttering to himself, up we go, till at last, pop, his snout came out into the sunlight, and he found himself rolling in the fine warm grass of a great meadow. This is fine, he said to himself. This is better than whitewashing. The sunshine struck hot on his fur. Soft breezes caressed his heated brow, and after the seclusion of the cellarage, which is his home he had lived in so long, the carol of happy birds fell on his dulled hearing almost like a shout. Jumping off all his four legs at once, in the joy of living and the delight of spring without its cleaning, he pursued his way across the meadow till he reached the hedge on the further side. "Hold up," said an elderly rabbit at the gap. "6 pence for the privilege of passing by the private road." So he's asking for money. He was bowled over in an instant by the impatient and contemptuous mole, who trotted along the side of the hedge, chaffing the other rabbits as they peeped hurriedly from their holes to see what the row was about, to see what was going on. Onion sauce, he remarked jeeringly, and was gone before they could think of a thoroughly satisfactory reply. They all started grumbling at each other, the rabbits, that is. How stupid you are! Why didn't you tell him? Well, why didn't you say? You might have reminded him, and so on in the usual way. But of course it was then much too late, as is always the case. So Mole didn't pay his money to be on the road. Uh-oh. It all seemed too good to be true. Hither and thither through the meadows he rambled busily along the hedgerows, across the copses, finding everywhere birds building, flowers budding, leaves thrusting, everything happy and progressive and occupied. And instead of having an uneasy conscience pricking him and whispering, "Whitewash," he somehow could only feel how jolly it was to be the only idle dog among all these busy citizens. After all, the best part of a holiday is perhaps not so much to be resting yourself as to see all the other fellows busily working. Like when you've got a day off from school, but everybody else, your family still has to work or go to school, but you don't have to because you're off. So that's kind of what Mole's feeling. So this is a terrific book. It was written over 100 years ago. Look and see if there's a publication date. So I recommend it for the older kids, maybe 4th grade and up. So check it out. It's at the library and you can put it on hold and check it out. So I hope you enjoyed your taste of it, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.